Hello everybody, my name is Anthogwin, and today we're going to be talking about A Hat in Time. It is a 3D platforming collectathon game developed by Gears for Breakfast that came out October 5th, 2017, and it has a lot of inspiration. It's kind of like a love letter to games like Super Mario 64 or Banjo-Kazooie. And me personally, when I was playing through the game, I felt like it was oozing with Super Mario Sunshine. Specifically in Mafia Town, which is the first act, and also Alpine Skyline, which is the fourth act. I just felt like this game it has a lot of good childhood vibes for me. I loved it. This was just so wonderful. This game did come out the same month and year as Mario Odyssey, although Mario Odyssey came out October 27th. So at time October 5th, Odyssey 27th. It does seem like there is no actual like correlations where they were copying one another from what I can tell. You know, it's kind of hard to develop a game and copy and release it the same month. So I think A Hat in Time definitely got lucky with being able to kind of maybe crunch it or push it out so that way they can get it before Odyssey. But yeah, they made a really good game that does feel unique for our current time because I mean we did get Super Mario Galaxy and yeah, it does feel like that a little bit, but this does feel like an old school, you know, kind of game. It feels a little bit older with a nice kind of polish on it, I guess you could say. That being said, this might not be for everyone. When I first got this game, I played it on my computer and I played about 5 hours of it. I did enjoy it, but it felt off to me, or maybe I was just off. I don't know. I stopped playing it. But recently I got a Steamdeck, and this is actually the first game I decided to play on Steamdeck. I don't know why. I've been kind of wanting to go back and revisit this, and I don't think, you know, I saw any recommendations. It just was something that was on my mind, like I should go back and just try this on here, and I am so glad I did. I ended up binge playing it for an extra about 13 hours. That's how long it took me to beat the main storyline again on a new save. I do not have any of the DLCs, so I cannot speak to them. I know that Nyakuza Metro is one DLC that everyone recommends that you just have to play. Arctic Cruise is one that people say is kind of, you know, hit or miss. It adds a little bit, but they have an extra game mode that people love. So I can't really speak on that, but I have done a little bit of research on that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing it or not, although I have kind of been considering it. But I guess I'm digressing. This game is just, it's fun, and if you're looking for a good fun 3D platformer, this might definitely be something that piques your interest if you haven't played it before, or if you have played it, just welcome, and thank you for re-listening to something that you probably already know about. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop into this a little bit. Upon starting the game, you're going to see that the main protagonist of our story is someone named Hat Kid. She is an alien who is trying to recollect her lost timepieces, which is the fuel for her ship. And in case you are wondering how they get lost, she just so happens to fly her spaceship over Mafia Town, which is the Mafia's jurisdiction in case you can't tell by the name of this town. And somehow this Mafia man ends up in space, knocks on the door, says, hey, you're going to pay us a tribute for being here because we own you now because you flew into our jurisdiction, into our town, but she's in space. I don't know how he got there. I'm honestly confused. Somehow he gets into space and he ends up right at his door, at her door, and he's able to float there. It's like how? I don't know, but I digress. He ends up there and he opens this door up. So first off, in case you're wondering, if you get your own spaceship, maybe you should lock the front door. It might help. He opens it up, and the second error, in case you want to know, the second thing that you should maybe do if you have a spaceship that just happens to run off these very powerful timepieces, and you know, is the fuel for your ship. Maybe if you have a vault where you store all these things at, and there's a big huge lock on it, maybe you should lock it, because as soon as this Mafia man opens it up, all of it flies out. It's tragic. It's kind of funny, but it's tragic. And now we're on a hunt to go find these scattered across the galaxy. Okay, I say galaxy, it's really more like 5 different acts, 4 really, I guess you could say. But still, it's I don't know how you do this. I don't. I'm honestly amazed. So she can't return home right now, so she has to find those so she can return home. So it is a total mood. It's a process, but we're going to get there. So that's kind of where the story starts, and that's how it's going to kind of bring us to an ending, although there is kind of a plot that thickens, it develops as you go along the story, and I honestly was enjoying it. I thought it was kind of fun. I do want to say about Hat Kid, according to the wiki, it says that the only difference between her, which is the alien species, and normal humans is that she has bones in her ponytail, which I'm not quite sure what good that does her, but apparently it does her something because that's what makes her different. So yeah, in case you're wondering if you know how to be an alien, just get some bones in your ponytail and you're good to go. Sorry, men, if you don't have a ponytail, you have to grow one out. Hat Kid is an energetic child, and she's quite sassy. You can kind of get that through the dialogue. She does have some innocent voice lines, and it's not really much. She doesn't really talk a whole lot at all, but you'll hear a couple things here and there where it's like, you know, a hey or a hi, you know, or a That's really about the most that you're going to see through her speaking, but she does have quite a few body languages that she kind of gives out, and it makes the game fun when you're playing along. She likes to make fun of the Mafia goons, and she has a lot of, I guess, that childlike, it's sass. There's no other better way to put it other than she's just sassy, and it's a lot of fun. Also, there's a little spoiler right here, and just gonna get this out there. There might be some spoilers from this point onwards, so maybe you want to kind of, if you don't play the game, maybe go and do that. There is a diary inside of her pillow fort, and the way that you get to it is you have to use the ice hat later on, and you can go in there, and you will find that inside her pillow fort there is that diary that reveals a lot of personal thoughts behind it, which I thought was really cool. My only problem was I found out about like on day 19, so I was like, oh, I wonder how much good stuff I missed, because I had recently just got done playing through one specific part, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting how she's treating this person. And then you read the diary and you find out that she's kind of like a little bit the opposite way. And I was like, oh, wow. So it's really cool, you know? She can be shy sometimes, and she can be seen as the main antagonist, asks for her name, and she's kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to give this to you, you know? So you get a lot of emotion from someone who's kind of almost mute, and it's really nice. I just like how they did her character, and it feels good. The way that the game kind of starts is you're put on the ship, and a lot of the rooms are kind of locked off until you get some of your timepieces back. So it doesn't overwhelm you with a lot of things that you can kind of try to go explore and do at once in the main, hub of the world. And this is going to be your hub. It just kind of directs you towards, okay, here's where you can go. And it gives you these visual warnings, or signs where it's like, okay, if you want to get in this room, you have to do this, or, this is to come. So you have expectation like, okay, when I get there, I get to open this up, and you're always, where you're going to be going. You know what you're going to be looking for. And that's just a nice thing that I really do enjoy about this, is that you're not really lost in this game. And it's simple, I guess you'd say, in nature. And this game isn't very difficult to play. So it's really nice to be able to pick up and just go and do a level or two if you want to, or binge it, and you're totally fine to do that. You're totally allowed to do that. And you could even go away for a long time and come back, and you're still not going to feel too lost, because the way that the design of the ship and the way that the game unfolds, it very much so makes it to where you're not going to get confused and upset about what you're doing. It's going to give you everything that you need, and there is a lot of room to explore, and you're going to be exploring each area probably a lot, and you're free to explore it. But at the same time, when you're wanting to go and do like a main objective or whatever the game is kind of directing you to do to get these timepieces, you're not really going to be lost aside from doing the time riffs, which is something that we're going to get to here in a little bit. Allow me to set the scene. You're going to go to your kitchen and think, oh, I'm getting hungry. And when you walk in there, you're going to see a really awesomely placed telescope. And you're going to be like, what does this do? You're going to look through it, and you're going to be like, oh, wow, this telescope seems to be pointed directly at the middle of a planet. And above that, it's going to say Mafia Town. Wow, that's very convenient. And you're going to see right there that there's a little contract or something, and you're going to be able to open it up, and it's going to say, welcome to Mafia Town. This is the very first chapter of Act 1, and you're going to see some really actiony things start popping off. As soon as you spawn in, you're going to be kind of like in the slum part of Mafia Town, some random alleyway, and you're going to go down a path, and you're going to see the very first protagonist. She's kind of a mixed bag depending on how you feel. I guess you could say she is the main antagonist. She is the major character. The plot's going to be revolved around her at the end of the day. And her name is Mustache Girl. She's kind of this curious figure. We don't know much about her, but we see that she's kind of like a Robin Hood. She's trying to do her best to protect the city and defeat Mafia. She's like a general, if you will, committing war all by herself against an island overrun. And it's quite sad. You do feel kind of bad for her at the same time, though. She's a little bit immature. She's not ready, and it's kind of sad. But we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. Mafia Town kind of is a beautiful place, in all honesty, when you look at it. You have a little bit of everything. You got a little like water slide thing that leads to some lighthouses. You got a beach. You got some hot air balloons in the sky. You got a lot of buildings, a lot of residential districts, some stores. There's just a lot going on. And this is actually based off of a real-life Greek island called Santorini. And this island was taken over by a mafia of cooks. So it's a gang. They're sailors. They're not very smart. They're supposed to be chefs, but they're kind of just more so like thugs. They're punks. And I don't know who the residents were beforehand. We do see a couple of them actually on the island, and they're kind of getting antagonized by the mafia. You do kind of feel a little bit bad for them, but you don't really get to see kind of what the island was before. All you know is through Mustache Girl that this was a place that, she loves. She feels very strongly about it, and these guys took over it, and they own it. and it's sad. You do feel like it's kind of a takeover, because it is a takeover. So throughout the story, you're going to be able to kind of sympathize with Mustache Girl and her goals, but you're going to quickly see that she's kind of only interested in doing whatever she can to defeat Mafia, to defeat evil. And it's going to kind of interfere with our wants to get home. So a little bit on the nose there with it. So you got the first mission, which is Welcome to Mafia Town. And then you have Barrel Battle. And then you have She Came from Outer Space. You have Down with the Mafia. And then for a long time, you're not going to be able to beat Act 5. You'll be able to skip that one, though, conveniently, and go to Act 6 and 7. But Act 5, you're going to be stuck not doing for a while. Or the game is going to suggest you don't do it. Act 6 is heating up Mafia Town, which is where the entire town gets engulfed in lava. Act 7 is the Golden Vault. So the main missions that you kind of get with this game is, it's kind of like little gimmicks, I guess you could say. The first one with Mafia Town is it's just showing you how to kind of play the game. You know, you're going to defeat one guy, and he's not even really that big of a boss. He's just going to run away from you, and boom, you get your timepiece and you're good. The second one, you're going to see Mustache Girl get taken by a guy on top of barrels, and you're going to have a little boss battle. And it's all good. It's fun. They Came from Outer Space is going to kind of be like a gauntlet of running. You're going to do all these obstacles, and you're going to be chasing after someone, and it's going to get you, once again, more in tune with the controls. Down with the Mafia, you're going to fight the Mafia boss. And this one's where you kind of get like your first true proper level, I want to say. You get a little bit of everything. You get a little bit of the chase, you get a little bit of fighting, you get a little bit of, you know, obstacle courses in between. It feels like a proper fully fleshed level. So my opinion, when I was playing this, the first 3 levels are just tutorial. Fourth one kind of gets into it. And then from there, Act 6 with heating up Mafia Town, where everything catches on fire. Everything's lava. This is when it's kind of like, all right, now we're seriously like, they're finally letting you play a little bit. It can be a little bit tricky. Although, personally, I don't think so. I thought it was pretty easy, but it's nice. I like what they do with what they've given you. They have this world that they built, and they put all this detail and time into it, and you can tell that they care about it. And you can just tell by looking at it. It's not like something that's very easy to do, because with these games that are platformers, you have to develop all these puzzles and think about all the intricacies. And a lot of the times, you can actually bypass a lot of the main intended ways for you to do a puzzle just by running and doing your hat jumps. So you have a lot of options of the mechanics that they give you. You're never once feeling like you're stuck or you have to play the way the developers intended. You get to play however you want to kind of play, and you can kind of gimmick the system, and it feels good. And then Act 7 with the Golden Vault, there's these random vaults that are on the island, and I like these a lot too. It's like a little hunt, although it kind of can be simplified. You can walk up to the vault, and it will show you little streamers of where you're supposed to go, and you can just walk over and you have to pick up these codes. And sometimes they're placed, you know, really far away, as in Act 7, the Golden Vault. Those are placed like all over the island, and you have to keep going back to the main vault if you want to see what kind of where the line goes. And it's really fun. It really gets you kind of knowing your island really well. And by the end of it, I really did feel like I kind of knew a little bit of where everything is, which is going to help you out when you have to go kind of do some of these time rifts, which is a mechanic where when you're playing the game, you're going to trigger something in it, and you're going to have these random portals kind of open up in the map. And you have to kind of go off of a photo to see where that's going to be. So you might get like a picture of a lighthouse, or you might get a picture of a dock, but you don't know which dock it is. But so you got to know where the docks are, or you got to look around, try to find the docks. And it's really cool. It's another way for them to be able to throw more content into the game and use the world and make you explore it. And it feels kind of natural, like a treasure hunt. And I really enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. Throughout these different acts, or these, you know, islands you're going to kind of go to, these different planets, you're also going to have a couple things scattered around. You're going to have some like treasure chests, and you're going to have some relics that can kind of be randomly placed. And don't worry if you're feeling like you have to collect all of them. You will eventually get something as a badge. So in the game, there's these badges that give you these special boons, these special bonuses, and there's quite a few of them in the game. And you get one that you can buy from someone after Act 2 that will say, hey, you know, buy this, equip this, and it will point you towards the nearest relic. So if you're thinking like, oh man, I want to collect these things, but I don't want to go willy-nilly trying to find it, you do get a little bit of help naturally throughout the game, where it's going to be like, okay, this is going to show you where to go. So don't worry about that. With these tokens that you end up finding, I think they're called Rift tokens, you can go to something known as the roulette, which is inside your ship, and you put 3 coins in, and you get a little spinny thing that kind of goes, and you can get new hats or, you know, color palettes. You can change the color of your clothes. It's kind of cool. And you get music remixes that you can swap out. So you get like little records that you can change the music that you want to have being played throughout the levels. So this game does kind of give you a lot of little fun things that you can do. And although maybe the color palettes isn't exactly specifically to what you want, or the customizations isn't specifically what you want, you do get some, nice colors. You get some cool hats, and it adds to the thrill of going and fully exploring the level and trying to become one with it. Mafia Town specifically has 4 vaults. You have the red vault, the blue vault, the green vault, and then the story mission, the golden vault. So in case you were wondering, there is multiple vaults. And actually the very first mission, you're going to end up seeing your first vault. That's going to be the red vault. So the game will naturally show you these throughout. I don't think there's really a whole lot of features that the game doesn't at some point kind of throw at you and tell you. And as you're playing, you also get like little hints like, oh, if you see like a platform that you're supposed to use a specific hat at, it'll say maybe you should try putting this hat, or say, you can use this hat. It will give you little things, and it's not like invasive or like, annoying, like a pop-up ad or anything like that. It's just a nice little slot bubble that doesn't take up like hardly any of the screen, and they do really good. It's very intuitive. UI is really nice. I really enjoy it. So I don't think you're gonna have any problems here. The game runs solid when I play on my computer or I play on my Steam Deck. Both of them I never had like any lag. I never had any problems, and it works great. This game just works great. It's pretty well optimized, I'd say so. And I haven't actually run into any bugs at all in the game. I never once got like stuck randomly. I never once had any problems. They did a good job making this game. So you got a really good, solid game. So once again, with the rifts, you have blue rifts and you have purple rifts. Blue rifts are platforming challenges, and the purple ones have some story. So in these rifts, you end up having, once again, platforming like we're used to, because it's a platformer. But you also have little photos you get to collect, and those photos at the very end will give you a little storybook that gives you more history about the planet that you're visiting. And specifically for Mafia Town, you get a little bit more of like, okay, Mafia boss and his Mafia men, they were working at a fish factory, and they were sad and not wanting to be there. It was polluted, it was gross, and they wanted to kind of go and learn or take over an island that can give them clean water and just have a good time. So they went and set sail. They left their wives behind. That's why there's no women on Mafia Town. And they go and find another place. They find this island, which doesn't have any name or anything like that. And they end up taking over it. They have different plans for what others might have, on the island. So they're going to basically say, hey, we're going to do this. This belongs to us. You leave and let us have this beautiful island that you have. And we're going to keep it. Okay. And it also shows like Mustache Girl was there from the very beginning. She kept disrupting them. She kept trying to do this. And it goes on. There's a nice story to it. And you get little bits and pieces here and there from that. But you might just have to kind of read into it. It's just literally a picture book. So it's nice. They do a really good job of just naturally weaving things in a fun way. While recording footage for this video, I have played keyboard and mouse, and I have to say that this game does run pretty flawlessly. There is no options to reconfigure the settings, so the button key bindings or what the key bindings are going to be. But once again, like I said, they are very intuitive. They feel very comfortable to play. And yeah, you're not going to have any problems probably doing this game just with your keyboard. So if you're a keyboard warrior, you can definitely play this game. I've played also on controller, so some of the footage on here, as I'm sure you've probably seen some of the button prompts, is controller, so that works great. As well as the Steam Deck. This game is just once again flawless. This is the first game I played on my Steam Deck when I got it. It's the first game I've beaten on my Steam Deck. I binged this game on there, and yeah, you're just gonna have a really wonderful time. And I was going to consider doing every single area in this game, every act, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put the video on there, my channel, and just see how it does. And if it does good, then maybe I'll consider going back and doing some more for looking at the other areas if people want that. This game is kind of old, so I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be wasting my time trying to show this gem, but this is just truly just that, a gem. I think you cannot go wrong with this game, and especially right now it's on sale. As the recording of this video, actually the autumn sale has just kind of started going on, and it appears that you can pick up the game for 50% off. It's $14.99, and then you can get the Ultimate Edition with the DLC for $19.99, so basically $20. This is for American, so it's a good deal, I'd say. I've gotten about 12 hours to beat it, and this is without the DLC. So with DLC, I imagine the numbers are going to go up. There is a Steam Workshop, which I guess I should actually mention. This is kind of important. When you go up the slide, which I've shown earlier in the video with the ice hat, so you have to actually have it unlocked a little bit. You can go up there, and as you'll see, from the Steam shop, there is a workshop, and on there you can see all the levels that they have on there, and you can subscribe to that and play these custom levels. So not only is the base game a lot of content, you also have a lot of people who just love this game. It's a fan-made levels. So, and there's actually a couple that are really good. Like there's one I saw that was the saving of the Declaration of Independence, or not saving, but stealing. and someone had basically imported like, you know, solid snake, Metal Gear Solid style graphics, and it was really cool. So like, you'll get the little phone call of someone, you'll have the little side-by-side shot where they're talking to each other, and that's just one level that I played, and that's the very first one I did. And there's a lot of flavor here that you can do. So you definitely cannot go wrong if you like collectathons, if you like platformers, if you're just looking for something to spend some time with. So I hope this video was able to help you decide whether or not you want to maybe get this game. I definitely rate this game probably like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 for what it is. It reminds me of my youth and when I was playing games like Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, the Boomerang kind of game, and just Super Mario Sunshine, and just those kind of games. Like, it just brings me back to my childhood. And whether or not you had the same childhood as I did, you definitely it's enjoyable. And that's just what I'm trying to get at, is you really just can't go wrong with this cozy game. There is not really anything in this game that made me really feel maybe upset or irate, other than the little hidden pages, which that was kind of annoying. Kind of running around trying to find those. I will say that I binged this so much that when I got to the 5th act, I believe it was, the Alpine, maybe this is the 4th one, the Alpine area, which is the one with the 4 different gimmicks, I guess you could say, which is like the birdhouse, and it's really, really neat. It's really, really cool, but I was kind of like, okay, I want to beat it. So I kind of started rushing myself, which that's my own fault. So, you know, if you take your time and you just enjoy this game for what it is, then like, you're just gonna, once again, just enjoy it, you know, don't rush through it. I just had such a good time with this game, and I hope that really comes through in this video. And I just cannot recommend this more than enough. If it even looks slightly, you know, remotely interesting, just give it a shot. Go for it, man. So yeah, if you like the video, leave a like. Have any comments? When we do another video, when we look into some more of the other areas, then yeah, you know, just put that there. It will be encouraging for me to be able to see that there is a demand for that. And yeah, I guess until next time, I've been in Thogwin. This has been A Hat in Time, and thank you for watching. Bye.